Hey guys, how are you guys doing? This is Banujan Professor. Here we go. Today we are gonna be learning about what is music. Okay, if you guys know what is music, it's basically music is a culture. It's an element of a song. This activate audience theory. Okay, so in music culture, ethnomusically. So when you think about ology, it means it's a knowledge. Okay, so hold on, guys. Let me insert it. Here we go. So the ethnomusicology is a study of music in its culture context. It's someone who studies music in its culture context and they approach music as a social process and they try to understand not only what music is but why it is. What does it mean to an audience? What does it mean to the practitioner? And they try to understand the impact it has on the society. Okay? And what is culture? Culture comes from the Latin word. Culture meaning to cultivate. Okay? The word culture has a many different meanings and can be used interchangeably in different things and different settings. Okay. So, culture can be used in the context of three different ways. An appreciation of taste in good literature, fine arts, music, or anything considered high art culture. The correlation and the patterns of human knowledge, socializing, and beliefs. Morals that depends upon the influence of symbolic thought, interaction, and social learning. A set of collective attitudes, behaviors, values, roles, and practice that create an institution, organization, or group. Studying culture. When we examine culture, we can determine that it is learned, which means process of learning one's culture is called enculturation. And we can determine that it is shared by the member of a society. There's no culture of one. We can determine that it is patterned. People in our society live and think in ways that form definite patterns, and it's mutually constructed. That means through a constant process of social interactions, and we can determine that culture is symbolic and basically it has a culture, language, and thought are based on symbols and symbolic meanings. Okay. And the sixth one is arbitrary, not based on natural laws external to key humans, but created by humans according to the whims of the society. For example, standards of beauty. Okay, and the seventh example is the last but not least, internalized. It's habitual, taken from granted, perceiving as natural. Speaking of language, music terminology, okay, different sounds of music and different elements of songs. Genre, it's in a noun, okay, guys, it's not a verb, it's noun. A class of categories of artistic endeavor having a particular form, content, or technique. History. Let's look at the history of it. In 1770s, as a French word in English, deriving from the word gender, used especially in French for independent style. Okay. Speaking of language, there are songs, a short material composition intended or adapted for singing, especially one in rhymed stanzas, a lyric or ballad. A musical piece adapted for singing or simulating a piece of to be sung or song a poetical compositions, poetry. Okay, and the history of it is before 900. Middle English, Old English, German, Gothic. Um, they used to do the song. This is what you need. This is an important part, guys. Elements of a song. What does the song have? What are the elements in it? Well, basically, there are bridge, chorus, hook, lyric, and more. So, if you want to know the meaning, let's see. Bridge is basically bridge. What does it does? Bridge is basically it transfer. It's make you it makes them okay. For example, in real world, what does a bridge does? Okay, and that's what that does for the song. It transfer to one tune to other tune, so it's basically a passage consisting of new contrasting material that serves as a link between repeated sections of a melodic material, sometimes called a release. Okay, chorus, everybody knows that chorus is basically, when some people or some one sentence repeat again and again, and repeating a section within a song consists of a fixed or melody and the lyrics that is repeated exactly each time that it occurs, typically following one or more verses. Hook is a catchy part, okay, or otherwise memorable musical phrase or pattern. Lyric. Lyric is a poetic text applied to a piece of music in the form of song. Okay, we really need lyrics for the songs. Without that, there's nothing as I've called as a song. And there is also refrain. Refrain is the verse in the words refrain song. The refrain is the main part of the song, usually constructed in a AABA or ABAC form. Okay, one of those two. It won't be called as a music if there is a different pattern. Okay, guys. Uh, and the second one, this is the best part that I like, guys. Um, Riff. If everybody knows, anybody knows what does it mean. It's basically a simple repeating melodic idea or pattern that generated rhythmic momentum, typically played by the horns or the piano in a jazz ensemble or by an electric guitar in a rock and roll contest. Okay, and it basically, what does it say in a short sentence, is the riff is the wap is the part that repeats again and again in the song. Okay, uh, tempo. Tempo is a little time. Okay, and the time came from an Italian. Okay, the rate at which musical composition proceeds regulated by the speed of the beat or pulse to which it is performed. And verse is the group of lines poetic text, often rhyming, that usually exhibit regularly recurring materials patterns. So basically, this is the one. It will be in a one. or in one paragraph or one four of sentence, it doesn't matter, but it's kind of words that it's same pattern that can come after second verse or third verse, okay, and that is what verse is. So every people, so when you talk to a person about the words, you could say, okay, for this song, the first verse was really adaptable, but the second was really terrifying, okay, anything like that. So you use the words for those kind of examples. um, why this is important: different audiences understand the media message different and can have different response to it. Some audience believe in and accept that message, while others can reject the message using knowledge from their own experience, logic, or other rationals to criticize what is it being said. An active audience theory is a Studhall culture theorist, sociologist, encoding decoding model of the relationship between media text and its audience. Uh, Developed in the 1970s in his writings. Okay, encoding decoding model of communication, and they released it in 1973. So the past theories believe that the interpretations of mass media messages simply treat audience as passive sponges, okay, who just absorb the content of television and the other media. The viewers will accept and interrupt the message in exactly the way that the message markers want. Okay, active audience is encoding and decoding. British sociologist Starhall proposed a model of a mass communications which highlighted the importance of activity interpretation within relevant codes. Starhall stressed the role of a social positioning in the interpretations of mass media tested by different social groups. Okay, so in the encoding and decoding, there are three of them. Preferred dominant reading, which is called as a preferred reader. This is when the audience respond to the product the way media producer wants, accept them to. Negotiate reading. This is when member of the audience partly agrees with the part of the product. So, for example, film, documentary, program. Oppositional reading. This is when the audience are in the complete disagreement with the product's message or setting. They don't like anything. Okay. In active audience series, there are some criticisms. Some audience inactive, they attribute no meaning to what they see, resulting in meaningless media use. May be difficult for audience to fairly evaluate media messages when many of their core beliefs are ready to rooted in them. Okay, so this is mostly important things, and this is what you guys are learning for the first lecture in in the music class as a theory. And I hope you guys understand what is music and what are the elements of it and what is the culture, and all of the meaning of studying culture and where does the culture came from, all the meaning of the elements of song, and why the song is important here, and what is encoding and decoding. So encoding is something you get it in, decoding is something you don't like it, you just get away. So basically that's about it for today, guys, about the music. And please, if you guys like it, uh, don't forget to share with your friends. Thanks a lot, and Take care, guys.